The Martian. NASA uses this film as a teaching tool for realistic Mars mission planning. Released in 2015 and directed by Ridley Scott, The Martian based its depiction on extensive consultation with NASA. The habitat design reflects actual NASA Mars habitat concepts being developed for future missions. Botanist Mark Watney's potato farming in Martian regolith is theoretically possible using human waste as fertilizer, though challenging. The film accurately depicts Mars's thin atmosphere at just 1% of Earth's density, and correctly shows the communication signal travel time between Earth and Mars ranging from 4 to 24 minutes one way, depending on planetary positions. The Hermes spacecraft's ion propulsion system is based on real NASA technology currently in development. Water reclamation and oxygen generation systems mirror actual technology used on the International Space Station. The film's major scientific liberty is the massive dust storm that strands Watney, as Mars's atmosphere is actually too thin to generate such destructive force. Despite this dramatic license, The Martian represents Hollywood's most scientifically accurate depiction of a Mars mission, with NASA using it for public outreach and recruitment to demonstrate feasible, near-future space exploration. Apollo 13. Ron Howard's 1995 film recreates one of NASA's most famous real missions with extraordinary accuracy. Based on the actual Apollo 13 mission from April 1970, the production went to unprecedented lengths for authenticity. The film shot over 600 parabolic flights aboard NASA's KC-135 aircraft, nicknamed the Vomit Comet, to achieve genuine weightlessness. Each parabolic flight provided approximately 25 seconds of zero gravity for filming. The spacecraft interior was built to exact specifications using NASA blueprints, and actual mission transcripts were used for dialogue in critical scenes. Technical advisor Jim Lovell, the real Apollo 13 commander, ensured accuracy throughout production. Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and Bill Paxton trained at Space Camp to understand astronaut procedures. The famous carbon dioxide scrubber improvisation scene was recreated exactly as it happened, when crew members had to adapt equipment to prevent suffocation. The film accurately depicts how the oxygen tank explosion occurred 200,000 miles from Earth, and how the crew had to power down the spacecraft to conserve energy for re-entry. Splashdown coordinates and timing match historical records precisely. The only notable change was the famous line, "Houston, we have a problem," which was actually, "Houston, we've had a problem," in reality. This film set the standard for historical space mission accuracy, with its commitment to recreating actual weightlessness through practical effects rather than computer graphics, creating unprecedented realism. Gravity. Alfonso Cuarón's 2013 film depicts the Kessler Syndrome with remarkable precision. This theory, proposed by NASA scientist Donald Kessler in 1978, describes a cascade of orbital debris collisions that could make space access impossible. The film accurately shows debris traveling at over 20,000 miles per hour in low Earth orbit, where even tiny fragments become deadly projectiles. The International Space Station's orbital altitude at approximately 250 miles above Earth is correctly depicted. Satellite destruction patterns are based on actual collision physics, and decompression sequences along with spacesuit mechanics are accurately portrayed. The visual effects team consulted extensively with NASA and European Space Agency experts to ensure debris behavior matched reality. However, the film takes major liberties with orbital distances. In reality, the International Space Station, Hubble Space Telescope, and Chinese Space Station are hundreds of miles apart in different orbits, not the short distances shown in the film. Orbital mechanics and delta-v requirements needed for transfers between stations are simplified for dramatic purposes. Despite these compressed distances, gravity accurately depicts one of space exploration's most serious real dangers. The Kessler Syndrome cascade portrayed in the film represents an actual threat that space agencies actively work to prevent through debris tracking and satellite deorbiting protocol. Right Stuff. Philip Kaufman's 1983 film depicts America's Mercury 7 astronauts with meticulous attention to historical accuracy. The film recreates the actual selection process NASA used to choose the first American astronauts, including the grueling physical and psychological tests at the Lovelace Clinic. Candidates underwent centrifuge training that accurately simulated the multiple G-forces experienced during rocket launches and re-entry. The film shows authentic procedures for pressure suit testing, including immersion in water tanks and altitude chamber tests that reached simulated heights of over 65,000 feet. Chuck Yeager's breaking of the sound barrier in the Bell X-1 is depicted with accurate flight dynamics and the actual date of October 14, 1947. Alan Shepard's Freedom 7 flight on May 5, 1961 is recreated using actual mission audio and accurate depictions of the Redstone rocket's performance. John Glenn's Friendship 7 orbital mission shows the genuine alarm when his heat shield appeared compromised, requiring him to keep the retro rocket pack attached during re-entry. The film accurately portrays the primitive nature of early spacecraft systems, with manual controls and limited computer assistance. Every flight sequence matches historical records for trajectory, timing, and technical challenges faced. This film demonstrates how early space missions relied on pilot skill and courage as much as engineering. Europa Report. These 2013 found footage films depicts a mission to Jupiter's moon Europa, with rigorous scientific grounding that mirrors actual NASA planning. Europa has a confirmed subsurface ocean beneath its ice shell, discovered through data from NASA missions, and making it a prime target in the search for extraterrestrial life. The film consulted extensively with scientists at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory and engineers from SpaceX to ensure technical accuracy. The spacecraft uses ion drive propulsion for the multi-year journey to Jupiter, reflecting real deep space propulsion technology. Radiation exposure near Jupiter is accurately portrayed as a major hazard, as Jupiter's magnetosphere creates radiation levels that would be lethal to unshielded humans. Ice drilling techniques shown are based on actual proposals for Europa missions currently in development. Communication systems and signal delays are realistic for Jupiter's distance from Earth, which ranges from 32 to 52 light minutes depending on orbital positions. The crew size and mission structure mirror actual proposals for deep space exploration missions. While the discovery of life in Europa's ocean remains hypothetical, the mission architecture and scientific procedures depicted align closely with NASA's actual plans for a Europa mission targeted for the 2030s. Contact. Carl Sagan's story, brought to screen by Robert Zemeckis in 1997, accurately depicts search for extraterrestrial intelligence protocols and radio astronomy procedures. Based on Sagan's 1985 novel, the film incorporates real radio telescope science throughout. The Very Large Array in New Mexico is featured as an actual filming location, using the real facility where radio astronomers search for signals. SETI protocols for signal detection and verification are accurately depicted, showing how researchers distinguish potential artificial signals from cosmic noise and terrestrial interference. The film demonstrates how radio astronomers would handle a confirmed detection, including the careful verification process before public announcement. The use of prime numbers as a basis for first contact communication reflects actual SETI theory about universal mathematical concepts. Wormhole travel physics were developed with consultation from physicist Kip Thorne, lending scientific credibility to speculative elements. The political and scientific community response to alien contact is realistically portrayed, showing the complex international implications such a discovery would trigger. Sagan's credentials as a renowned astronomer and SETI advocate ensured the film remained grounded in real search methodology. While the wormhole travel remains theoretical, the SETI science and radio astronomy depicted represent genuine procedures used by researchers today in the ongoing search for extraterrestrial intelligence. By the way, if you're enjoying what you're learning here, I create content like this regularly. Subscribing would really help me out. Moon. Duncan Jones' 2009 film depicts a realistic helium-3 mining operation on the lunar surface based on actual proposals. Helium-3 is abundant in the lunar regolith, but rare on Earth, making it valuable for potential fusion energy applications. The isotope is proposed as an ideal fusion fuel that would produce no radioactive waste, making it economically worth extracting and transporting from the moon. The mining operation design is based on actual lunar base proposals developed by space agencies and private companies. Low gravity at 1/6 Earth's and the vacuum environment are accurately shown affecting equipment operation and human movement. Solar panel arrays provide power, as they would in a real lunar base, and communication systems reflect realistic Earth-Moon infrastructure. The isolation effects and psychological challenges of solo long-duration missions are well researched, drawing from studies of Antarctic researchers and submarine crews. While the film's storyline involves science fiction elements, the fundamental depiction of lunar mining operations reflects serious proposals for future moon resource extraction that could make lunar bases economically viable. Arrival. Denis Villeneuve's 2016 film consulted linguists and physicists to accurately depict first contact protocols and communication challenges. The film portrays realistic procedures for approaching an unknown alien craft, including establishing containment zones and assembling interdisciplinary teams of scientists, linguists, and military personnel. Linguist Louise Banks uses actual linguistic methodology to decode the alien language, demonstrating how language acquisition works through pattern recognition and contextual learning. The film accurately shows the time-intensive nature of establishing communication with a completely foreign intelligence, requiring months of careful study. Military protocols for containing and studying the spacecraft reflect actual government contingency plans developed during the Cold War for potential extraterrestrial encounters. The heptapod writing system, while fictional, is based on real linguistic concepts of non-linear language structures. Physicist Ian Donnelly's approach to using mathematics as a universal language mirrors actual SETI proposals. The film depicts realistic international cooperation and conflict that would arise during a global first contact event. While the time perception elements venture into speculative physics, the foundational first contact procedures and linguistic approach represent genuine scientific methodology for attempting communication with non-human intelligence. Ad Astra. James Gray's 2019 film depicts near-future solar system travel with meticulous attention to current aerospace technology and realistic extrapolation. Set in a near future where space travel has become commercialized, the spacecraft designs were developed with consultation from NASA engineers and SpaceX. The moon base is depicted as a realistic extension of current lunar exploration plans, showing a developed infrastructure with commercial flights and research facilities. The Mars journey time of roughly 7 months accurately reflects the transfer window calculations for minimum energy trajectories. Zero-gravity scenes depict realistic body movement and the physical challenges of operating in weightlessness. Psychological screening for astronauts reflects actual NASA protocols used to assess mental fitness for long-duration missions. The Neptune journey in the film is compressed dramatically, as the actual trip would require years using current propulsion technology. Nuclear propulsion for outer solar system travel is based on real proposals like NASA's Nuclear Thermal Propulsion Program. The film accurately shows communication delays at Neptune's distance, which would be approximately 4 hours each way, making real-time conversations impossible. The near-future setting allows the film to depict space travel as a realistic extension of current technology rather than requiring speculative breakthroughs. The grounded approach to space infrastructure, from lunar bases to Mars stations, reflects serious planning by space agencies for the next several decades of human space exploration. October Sky. Joe Johnston's 1999 film depicts the true story of Homer Hickam and his friend building rockets in 1957 West Virginia, with remarkable technical accuracy. The film accurately portrays the basic principles of rocketry that the boys learned through trial and error, including propellant chemistry, nozzle design, and trajectory calculations. Their use of zinc and sulfur as rocket fuel reflects actual amateur rocketry experiments from that era. The film shows realistic failures, including unstable fuel mixtures causing explosions, improper weight distribution leading to flight instability, and nozzle burn-through from excessive heat. The progression from crude designs to sophisticated multi-stage rockets mirrors the actual development process used by professional rocket scientists. The boys' use of trigonometry to calculate rocket altitude and trajectory demonstrates real mathematical methods still used in ballistics today. Their consultation with teachers and use of library research reflects how amateur scientists actually acquire technical knowledge. The film accurately depicts the challenges of achieving stable flight, including the need for precise fin placement and center of gravity calculations. The rockets they built reached altitudes verified by optical tracking methods shown in the film. This movie demonstrates how fundamental rocket science principles remain consistent from amateur experiments to professional space missions, making it an accurate depiction of the physics underlying all space travel. For All Mankind. Al Reinert's 1989 documentary provides the most authentic depiction of the Apollo program by using exclusively real NASA footage and astronaut audio. Shot entirely from actual mission film taken aboard Apollo spacecraft between 1968 and 1972, every frame shows genuine spaceflight operations. The documentary features real footage of Saturn V launches, showing the massive rocket's ascent with authentic engine burns and staging separations. Lunar module descents are captured with actual onboard cameras, demonstrating real piloting challenges and fuel consumption rates. Moonwalk sequences show genuine astronaut movements in lunar gravity, including authentic dust behavior and boot print formation. The film includes real mission audio during critical moments, including tense communications during Apollo 13's oxygen tank explosion. Spacecraft interior shots reveal actual cramped conditions and authentic equipment layouts. Earth views from lunar orbit are genuine photographs taken by astronauts, not recreations. Splashdown sequences use real footage of capsules hitting the ocean and recovery operations. Unlike dramatizations that recreate events, this documentary presents unfiltered reality of lunar missions. The absence of narration allows viewers to experience missions through astronauts' own words recorded during actual flights. This represents ultimate realism in space mission depiction, because every image and sound comes from actual Apollo missions. Space Station. This 2002 IMAX documentary provides the most realistic depiction of International Space Station operations possible, because it was filmed aboard the actual station. Shot in large format IMAX with specialized cameras designed specifically for microgravity environments, the documentary shows real astronauts conducting actual scientific experiments. It depicts authentic day-to-day life in orbit, including how astronauts eat, sleep, exercise on specialized equipment, and maintain hygiene in weightlessness. The assembly of ISS modules is shown from both inside and outside the station, demonstrating the complex construction process in orbit. Narrated by Tom Cruise, the film demonstrates real challenges of working in weightlessness, from maneuvering large objects to performing delicate repairs. It shows genuine cooperation between NASA, the Russian Space Agency, and international partners from 15 nations. Unlike fictional films that must dramatize or simplify, this documentary presents unvarnished reality of space station operations. As documentary rather than fiction, this represents the ultimate standard for realistic space mission portrayal, showing actual operations without dramatization or scientific compromise. It serves as the benchmark against which fictional depictions can be measured for accuracy. If you found this valuable, consider subscribing so you never miss content like this. Thanks for watching.